Hi, my name is Sneaky from Cloud9, and this is my basic champion guide to Corki. I think Corki's pretty strong in solo queue at the moment. There's usually a lot of heavy AD comps going around. He kind of complements those pretty well. He does so much magic damage. I've tried to look at percentages every time I play Corki. I think it's usually sitting around like 74% magic damage, which is pretty insane because it's an AD carry. You build AD items, and then you're just doing insane amounts of magic damage. And it makes sense just because they made its auto attack split and made its Gatling gun split, but it's still pretty weird from an AD carry's perspective. But it's also really nice. The only disadvantage would be if your team is full magic and you try and pick Corki, or you pick Corki first and your team goes full magic, and then the enemy just stacks magic resist, which could happen in solo queue just because of how random champ select is sometimes, with bad team comps. Besides that, I think he's just really strong at carrying. Just insane damage, has the package for making the fat plays, and can carry pretty hard. Corki's laning it's okay. Sometimes he can bully people just depending on the matchup. He has an okay matchup against Lucian. It's not the worst, just because like the main point of the matchup is he can dash out of your Lucian can dash out of your phosphorus bomb, which sucks, but if you just hold it, he'll never dash and he won't get the the mobility, the extra damage from his passive. And then you can land your Q whenever some sort of CC lands on him from your support, or if he just gets too close, you can actually just Q him instantly. Besides that, his laning is pretty good. None of the other really champions have too good of a matchup against him. Vayne is okay because she scales, but besides that, he can generally do very well against people. Team fighting on Corki is not too hard. Usually you just want to start out by poking the enemies down with your ultimate, just because you have huge range on it. There's no reason to not go for it. The only risk is if they have some sort of CC to catch you out with. So you just have to be wary of that. Sometimes you'll manage to grab the package before a team fight breaks out. It's kind of hard to coordinate, but if you can get that off, sometimes you can package through the whole enemy team and then Valk another direction just to be sure that you're safe. It's super risky though. I recommend being very careful with it. Usually when you're super fed it can work out, but sometimes you'll just go in and immediately die, which is very unfortunate, but sometimes it's even worth dying immediately, even if you get like the full package off, because it does so much damage and slows them down that your team should be able to clean up. So he's somewhat of an initiator in team fights, but the normal AD carry role is just like the playback, hit the front line, AoE what you can, because you have so much AoE in Corki, it's gonna be hard for them to not die instantly. But besides that, just do as much damage as possible when you don't have the package up to the front line. So I think Corki is going to be used a lot in competitive. It might depend on the team comp. It might just depend on how strong he is relative to the other guys, but I think he'll be picked just because he does so much damage and he actually has a lot of utility just from the package alone. Being able to start fights, be able to cut people off, it's actually pretty insane. So I think you'll see a lot of play. So some tips I have for Corki are: use your Gatling gun on your Thunderlord's cooldown. Basically, you just want to time it with that. You can actually see the little debuff, or when it's down on the bottom right of your screen, just to the right of your actual buffs. So if you look at that, if it's not there, then use your Gatling gun when you can to trade. Another tip is when you're using the package, I guess your first one is pretty interesting. You can go roam to a different lane with it, probably going to their like Raptor camp and just using the package over the wall to create a line behind them. If you go up like that, you'll either knock them back into your mid laner if you hit them with it that way, or you'll create a line where they can't actually just run backwards too. So surprising people in other lanes is a pretty good way to use package. So for Corki, I run the same set of runes I run at everyone. It's just 9 AD, 9 armor, 12 MR, and 14% attack speed. I've heard of some pages being used that are hybrid pen reds, but kind of just prefer the 80 marks instead. So for masteries, it's just 12 18, 12 ferocity, 18 cunning. It's basically the page you run on every single AD carry. I don't think you can actually choose anything else right now, to be honest. They kind of been screwing around with that recently, just changing up which one is the best. At first it was Warlord's Bloodlust, and then it was Fervor of Battle, and now it's Thunderlords. So for now, it's Thunderlords. Maybe they'll change it up again, buff the other ones or something, make one of them the best. Keep it up with the Thunderlords, and you'll be good with masteries for AD carries. Corki's starting abilities are pretty easy. You start off with Q. There's not really any choice here. You could go, you could go Valk or E early on, but not really worth it. Q is just the best. For level 2, it is a bit of a choice. Sometimes, if you have control of the lane and you don't think you're just going to get immediately ganked, or you don't think you can get killed for taking Gatling Gun, you can go for it. The advantage here is instantly being able to proc your Thunderlords, and that's pretty nice, just being able to get free harassing with the Gatling Gun, so no one can really trade against that. But level 3, you take whichever one of those you didn't get, unless you put a point in Valk. Then I usually like to put another point in my Q at 3, and then get Gatling Gun at 4. I think it's a bit weird to have your skills split all across the board at 3. It's just not as good for his kind of kit. Besides that, max Q, putting points in your ultimate when you can, and then max E second. So item build for Corki is basically unchanged. So you build Trendy Force first, which is his best item, I think. Getting the extra damage from Trendy Force procs, which you can easily keep on proccing just because of how many spells you have, is the best item for him. So you go Trendy Force first into, if you can, and I think it's probably your best buy, is Stark Shoes. Maybe not immediately after if you can get the BF sword, but you want to get those probably before you finish your second item, which is Infinity Edge. Because when you have Trendy Force in Infinity Edge in Stark Shoes, you're going to hit people insanely hard. It's actually ridiculous. You'll probably one-shot / two-shot their 80 carry. After that, it's kind of dependent on the enemy team. You can go Essence Reaver if they don't really have too much CC. The other options are BT / Mercurial. I usually buy all these items anyways, but it's just the order which you get the last 3. So I think the most common one is going to be Mercurial, actually. There's a ton of magic champions going around these days, so being able to reduce the damage you take from them and cleanse any sort of CC going in you is actually super nice. So likely Mercurial 3rd, but try and put more thought into it if you can. And then for the 4th and 5th items, 4th is most likely just going to be Essence Reaver, because when you have Mercurial or BT, you already have the lifesteal, and doubling up on it is fine. Maybe situationally you need that, but most of the time the Essence Reaver should just be better. And then for the last item, you'll get the whichever one of those you didn't get. Thank you for watching this basic champion guide to Corki. Make sure to check out the rest of the guides over here at lolclass.com.